Let me introduce you to someone you may not know, but should. Inderjit Singh Dhaliwal. He doesn't have a Netflix special, no best selling book, but he mortgaged his home in the middle of a financial crisis, built two companies while everyone else was cutting back, and later walked into parliament, not for power, but to fight for builders like him. He didn't just change his career, he changed the system the next founder would inherit. He grew up in Malai Kampong, near Jalan Yunus. Wooden homes, open doors. He was the only non Malay kid in a class at Kakibuki Primary. His father worked as a watchman. That kind of a child who teaches you to read a room, include others, hold to your ground without shouting. He studied electronic engineering, triple E, at NTU, got his MBA, then spent years at Texas Instruments learning how factories breathe. Cycles, yield, throughput, real consequences. That's where he first saw it, the difference between companies that pause in fear and those that build through it. It's 1997. Asia is melting down. Banks are pulling credit lines. Currency markets are sliding. Most people try to ride it out. He doesn't. He mortgages his home. He and his brother start TriStar. He incorporates UTAC. Funding in Singapore dries up. So he takes a day off leave from Texas Instrument, flies to Taiwan, walks into one room, gives one pitch. By his account, he walks out with commitments north of $100 million. But he doesn't stop there. Back in Singapore, he brings in local investors to the round because ownership should live in Singapore too from his own perspectives. That decision matters more than anyone ever knew at that time. UTAC switches on in 1999. They acquire assets from Fujitsu and began test and assembly. By 2002, they are one of the top independent chip test companies in the world. You probably know Jensen Huang and Nvidia. He designs the chips. UTAC, they assemble and test them. When demand falls, chip giants outsource because outsourcing turns fixed costs into variable costs. If you stand up capacity while others stand down, you become the partner they keep when demand returns. That was UTAC's play. By 2004, they were ready to go public. But here's the twist. When he first approached the Singapore Stock Exchange, they didn't take the meeting. It was only after UTAC got the green light from the US that Singapore Stock Exchange came back and said yes. That moment, it wasn't just about listening. It was about what local gatekeepers missed and what global markets saw first. Success changes the room. The cap table became chorus. Some push for a fast raise at a lower valuation. He wants to protect employee equity, raise after a step up in value. Here's one way to picture it. Picture your company is a pizza. Let's talk about planning. The pizza is worth $200 million. An investor brings in $40 million. Now the pizza is worth $240 million. They got 40 out of 240, that's 16.7%. The team keeps 83.3%. Now let's look at plan B. The pizza is worth 120 million. Same $40 million raise. Now it's 160 million. The investor owns 25%. The team keeps 75%. The extra slice, it comes from the people who built it. Singh wanted to protect the team. And he said, let's raise after the next step up in value. What does that mean? You win a tier 1 customer, hit your yield or margin targets, turn your prototype into a paid pilot. That is proof before the price. But the votes lined up the other way. Control shifts. Now he is forced to leave UTAC and builds again. His words are blunt. I raised too much too fast. Gave up too much control too early. Now from 1996 to 2015, he represents Ang Mo Kio GRC in Parliament. He brings factory floor clarity into policy rooms. He pushes for co-investment that brings in private capital. He warns about rents and land costs. He pushes for tools, not slogans. Then came 2013. The government tables the population white paper. It projects up to 6.9 million people by 2030. The logic: birth rates are low, the workforce is aging, we will need more residents to sustain growth. Parliament debates it. On the ground, people feel the strain. Packed trains, long housing queues, wages are under pressure. Thousands show up at the speaker's corner in protest. Inderjit takes a stand. He says, let's pause. Let's fix the strain first, the housing, transport, wages, before chasing the next headline number. Growth must lift people, not split them. He walks out before the vote to make the point clear. He didn't just critique growth, he showed what to build ahead. Prototype here. Let's think of a prototype here. Keep early builds close to engineers and customers. That's how fixes get faster and know-how stays. Turn ideas into products faster. Shorten the path from lab to pilot to production. Make approvals easier. Lower the cost of trying. Keep industrial land affordable. Because when rent kills your margin, small lines die before they scale. Match the world's best speed. Permits, utilities, grant decisions, days, not months. Can you imagine that? And he said, do that and growth will feel human. Trains will work, housing queues will shorten, wages will rise with output. The next founder will ship sooner. The next team stays. Now let's talk about where UTAC is now. The company he helped start still runs as a global assembly and test specialist, now under private ownership. Markets move, ownership evolves, but the craft continues. So does the playbook. So what can you use right now if you are a founder? Map control before and after every round. Protect employee equity when new money comes in. Bring a local investor into every big cross-border race. Race after value creation, not to calm fear. Add one independent director before you need a referee. If you have policyholders, co-invest where early production stalls. Keep industrial space affordable. Track permits and grant approvals against world benchmarks. Tie productivity to wages, not to output. Remove one barrier in 90 days and finish it. Now, for citizens and leaders, ask who owns the upside here. Ask who carries the downside. Support leaders who serve before they speak. He mortgaged his home in crisis. He raised overseas, but bought the upside home. He protected his team. He left when control shifted. He spent 19 years making growth feel like something real. He didn't just build a company. He changed a system the next builder would inherit. Courage is a choice. Inclusion is a habit. Execution is proof. You don't need everyone to move. You just need one person to move first. He did. Now it's your turn.